Participatory budgeting has taken place for 2 years in Sheffield, and it's being carried out through the 7 community assemblies which cover the city. So far we've used it as a way of distributing basically community chest grants to voluntary and community sector organisations, but rather than the old kind of process whereby they would apply and there'd be decisions made behind closed doors that would just be communicated back to the groups. This time we asked groups to come along to an event and to give a short presentation for 3 minutes on their project, and then everybody in the room gets to vote on their favourite projects, and the money is allocated on that basis. It's a very direct way of people getting involved. It shows that the decision is being made on a collective basis, and it's a really great way of networking, letting groups know about each other, and also providing them with additional support as well. So now we're starting to look at how we can roll that out to mainstream budgets as well. It's really important that it's supported from the top within the organisation and obviously politically within the local authority. And I do think there needs to be sort of an openness and a sort of culture change within the organisation, within the officer group really, to see that it's okay to get the views of local people and to sort of demystify the whole kind of budget setting process. So in some ways this is a good time to be doing it because every penny counts more than ever, and there are going to be ongoing restrictions in funding for the next 2 years. So it will be a way, I hope, of getting more local input and more discussion into how those reductions can best be made. There's a challenge in getting the right people involved and as many people as possible involved. We know that there's always a very committed core of local residents. We know some people will get involved if it's important to them. We know that probably a majority of people are not actually that bothered, but still want good decisions to be made on their behalf. So I think for mainstream budgeting we're going to need to look very closely at the methodology we use to reach as many people as possible. There needs to be a range of ways, certainly not just turning up at meetings, which we know exclude most people inevitably. We need to make good use of electronic methods, things like websites and blogs and so forth, but that needs to be done in a way that that's open and transparent and can't be manipulated. Our initial approach is going to be looking at reductions in library hours. Partly we'll do that through library user networks, but also through the wider contacts which community assemblies have. And that will be a deliberate attempt to also get to people who only use libraries very occasionally or maybe not at all. And they'll be given options about how they would like to see library hours, see the reductions managed basically. I think that the nice thing about the community chest PB is that literally everyone in that room has voted, they know what the scores are, it's very clear that there's a cause and effect and people's votes have a very direct input. And I think we're going to need to be quite good at communicating back the library hours process so people again understand that it did make a difference what they said. It doesn't necessarily mean that they got exactly what they wanted, but I think that's going to be a challenge for us to make sure that that's well communicated and people don't just see it as a kind of pointless consultation exercise, because it is actually directly affecting how resources are deployed within that service. We also hope that will be the beginning of a wider discussion about deployment of council resources into the future and being open much more to what local people want, what suits them, and having those conversations and seeing those changes made. It's been lovely at some of the sort of community chest events we've had, where people have gone out the room saying, that was really exciting, that was really fun. We found interestingly that a lot of groups who you might expect would feel excluded from the process have actually come forward and taken part. So groups who don't have English as a first language, women's groups, elderly groups, and often they've done quite well out of the process, and that's been an encouragement for them, as well as obviously a sort of material gain through the funding that they've achieved. There's been really brilliant networking between organisations, and that's been a great thing to see. But I suppose that the best thing about it, the most exciting and scary thing, is about giving up power and letting local people make those decisions or contribute to those decisions in a way that hasn't been possible or hasn't been done in the past.